Can you guys on Zoom hear us?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you still hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
If we mute your computer
I have muted it.
or turn the audio, and then I think there will be more echo, and then you can just talk in this, and it should be fine.
Into that? Okay. Okay. Should we begin? I think we should begin. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming today. We have the work authorization session with the Berkeley International Office, and we have someone from Bio who's going to be running the session. So he has a bunch of slides. This is Jeremiah, by the way. I will also let him introduce himself properly, but he's going to go over his presentation, and then we'll have question and answers by the end of it. So just any specific questions that you have, it'll be really helpful if you just ask them at the end. And it's okay if they are highly, highly specialized to your context, because Bio is the organization that handles everybody's work authorization. We at Career Services will only guide you to them. So they are the ultimate final answer, and no one overrides Bio's decision. So just take your time through the presentation also to just think of, this is a weird scenario I may see myself in, or this is my unique specific situation, and just please be prepared with the questions. Over to you, Jeremy.
All right. And I guess I need to hold this up as I'm presenting today for it to hear. Excellent. Well, first off, it's nice to meet all of you. I'm very happy to be here today. My name is Jeremiah. I work at Berkeley International Office, Bio, and I serve as the program manager for support and engagement. And of course, I'm also an international student advisor. Happy to be here to answer your questions. There is a lot of information that I'm going to try to cover today. So I am going to be speaking quickly. Okay, I have a lot of information to get through today. I first want to say that we are here, Bio. Again, to her point, we are the campus experts on immigration. We are designated school officials, which means we are the ones who handle your immigration record. So our job is to help you protect your immigration status, to get proper work authorizations, to understand the often confusing and very confusing rules that the United States government puts on you as F or J students. Okay, so if you have any questions, I'm going to try to answer your questions today, but a lot of these are, again, I'm going to move very quickly, give you a lot of information. It will be like drinking from a fire hose. It's going to be a lot of information. But if you have questions, definitely ask them today at the end when we have questions. Or if we don't get to it, please, please, please ask us your questions. We are here to help, okay? We have different ways you can contact us. You can contact us by email. Be patient with this email. We have a small team that serves over 10,000 international students. So we do have a 3 business day policy for emails. So be patient with us in email. So if you have a question, it's not super urgent, but you just want to know, certainly shoot us an email. And if it's super complex, we may say, hey, this is pretty complex, come to an advising session to speak to us, because we want to know more context to be able to best serve you. We do have advising services. We have advising every day except Wednesday. So not on Wednesdays, we don't have advising, but in the mornings we have virtual advising. Okay, so you can come in virtual advising in the mornings on Zoom, or in the afternoons from 1 to 4, we have in-person advising. So come see us, ask us your questions. We are here to help, and we are the campus experts on immigration and helping you understand all of these confusing policies. And I also want to say that 2025, right? You guys see the things that are going on in 2025. 2025 is not a time to be messing around, right? So some of this stuff is going to be black and white. And sometimes we may say, no, you can't do that. It's not because we don't want you to have great experiences to advance your career. Or it's not because we want to say no. These are the government's rules and regulations. Some of these things are black and white, and we may have to say no. But this is, again, to protect your immigration status, to allow you to stay here, to study, to meet your academic and career goals. So again, we don't want to say no, but sometimes we have to if it's a situation be like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't do that because of these weird government regulations or things, right? So understand that context, but please know that we are here to help. Okay, I'm going to move quickly now as we get into this. I'm sorry, one more time?
On the left.
Okay, yeah, I can just that too. I'll be fine. All right, so first off, before I begin, actually, checking into immigration status. How many of you are here on F1 status, have an F1? Okay. How many of you are here on a J1? Okay, we do have J1s. Excellent. J1s, a lot of this information is going to be F1 specific at first, but I do have information for the J1s. So if the first, it's about CPT and OPT, which are F1 stuff, bear with me. I am going to get to the J1 stuff too, the academic training. So don't worry, just so you can chill a little bit if you're a J1, because the first half will be F1 stuff. Is anyone here not on an F or a J1 visa category? All right, good deal, good deal. Bio specifically, we handle immigration. We're immigration experts on F and J1 status. So other visa categories, certainly that's something you'll be wanting to work with the immigration attorney on, and we can help guide you through that process too if that is you. But let me first talk about what you can do in F or a J status on campus, right? So I'm going to talk about on campus and off campus things. First off, for on campus employment basics, okay? What can you do as for on campus? And I want to clarify first about on campus employment, right? Berkeley's a big place, right? There's, cafes, there's restaurants, there's on campus jobs, library, things like that. There's also startup companies, right? There's a lot of things here at Berkeley because it's a huge campus. So what is an on campus job? Well, first up, an on campus employment means that you're working for the university essentially, or a university affiliate. So normally my question to students are like, hey, is this an on campus job or not? Usually the most basic litmus test I give students is say, ask the employer, who is going to be paying me, okay? If they say UC Berkeley is going to paying you, cool. It's an on-campus job and you don't need to get the off-campus work authorization. So that's the basis test is like, will I be paid by UC Berkeley? Yes, cool, it's on-campus work. If they say no, then touch base with bio and check. Because we do have some, like for example, iHouse, for example, technically you don't get paid by Berkeley at iHouse. But iHouse is considered an on-campus employer. So certain types of employers may be considered on campus still. So even if they say, no, you're not paid by Berkeley, but you suspect maybe it is, check with us. And we're happy to look into that for you, okay? So on-campus basics. Okay, so for you F1s, there's a bunch of hands for F1s. F1 students, you do not need a special work authorization to work on-campus jobs, okay? For you J1 students, you do need a work authorization for on-campus employment included. It's very easy for you to get this work authorization, but you do need it. I see hands up already. Quick question, but I also know we're going to have a lot of information, so.
If I choose a capstone working at a center on campus, do I still need a work authorization?
Are you an F or J1 status?
F1.
F1s, again, F1s on campus employment, you do not need work authorization. Depends on so if it is something off campus, and I'm going to get into more of this more. So anything off campus, paid or unpaid, yes, you need work authorization. On campus work, meaning you are paid by the university, you do not need a work authorization. I would say for specific questions about your specific things, I'm going to be doing this for my capstone, run it by us. Again, 2025 is not a time to be messing around, right? It is a time for you to ask the questions to us to check whether it's okay or not. Okay, guys, I want to hammer that home again and again. Please check with us. If we say, no, you can't do this, it's not because we want to be mean. It's because this would be a violation of your immigration status, and that's not what we want. Everything right now is under scrutiny, guys. 2025 is not a time to be messing around, and we are here to guide you through these confusing rules. So please come and ask us specific questions about, hey, I want to do this for my capstone. I think it's on campus. Come and ask us. We are here to clarify and answer those questions for you. Let me dig in more about this on-campus employment. On-campus employment, it doesn't matter if you're an F or a J. For on-campus employment, you are limited to 20 hours a week max during the fall and spring semesters, okay? And the summer between semesters, you can work full-time because the summer is a vacation period then. But if summer is your first or final semester, right, you got to take classes then, it's no longer a vacation period. So you are still then limited to 20 hours a week in those periods if it's your first or final semester. So 20 hours a week max. And I know that Berkeley works on percentages a lot of times for certain positions, like, oh, I'm a 50% appointment or things like that. From an immigration standpoint, we don't work in percentages. It is about the hours you work. You have an max of 20 hours a week in the fall and spring semesters, absolute max. When can you start your employment? I got to move these Zoom stuff. Oh, sorry, moving the Zoom stuff around. There we go. So When can you start working? Well, now. You are all studying now. But for those of you who are just getting here, like 30 days before this program start date for you F1s, J1s can only do it once they have the DS 2019 updated on DS 2019. For you J1 students, it is a pretty simple work authorization you'll have to apply for. You'll go to our on-campus employment page, and all of this information is on our on-campus employment page. J1 students, remember, anything on campus, you also need the work authorization. It is a simple form. We'll send that form to us. We will then add your on-campus employment information to your CVIS record, right? Easy authorization for you. Again, same rules apply, but on-campus employment, submit the simple form to us within 5 business days. You'll get it back that authorizes you for that employment, and it'll be added to your immigration record. So that's a little bit about on-campus, but now let's dig in deep to the meat of our presentation today, which is off-campus employment, okay? So I'm gonna start off, sorry, J's, I'm gonna start with the F stuff. But whether this is a J or an F, the first thing you need to know that anything you do off campus must be directly related to your major field of study, okay? So that's the major that is listed on your I-20 or DS 2019. So it's not like, oh, I studied this in this class, or I'm interested in this, and it's kind of related. Is it related to your major on your I-20 or DS 2019 or not? And a part of the process for this authorization is that when you submit the authorization, it first goes to your academic advisors in your program who are going to confirm for us, is this related to your major or not? Right? Because bio, right? We are serving 10,000 students for every single major on campus. We are not subject matter experts. Sometimes a student will come to me, hey, is this related to my physics degree? I don't know anything about physics. I can't tell you that, right? So that's why we rely on your major advisors and your GSAOs and the advisors in your department to confirm if a job's related to your major or not. But anything you do must be related to your major, and you must have the authorization before you begin any employment. I'm going to repeat that. You must have the authorization before you begin any employment off campus. And I would say the work authorizations are required for anything paid or unpaid, okay? Paid or unpaid, you need to get work authorization in advance, okay? That's for Fs or Js. Now for you Fs, let's look into the different types. This is a crash course in one slide. I will go in depth on each of these things, but this is a kind of a crash course on the 3 different types of off-campus work authorizations you will get as an F1, okay? So while you are a student, while you're still enrolled before the program end date on your I-20 for you Fs, the work authorization you apply to work off campus, paid or unpaid, will be curricular practical training, CPT, okay? CPT is what you can use before graduation. It is authorized by bio. So it's pretty simple. It goes through bio. We are the ones who add the employment authorization to your I-20. And you'll get a new I-20 that shows the employment authorization. It will take us 5 business days minimum to do this. We recommend that you submit your application to us for the CPT I-20 at least 2 weeks before the job or internship starts, okay? Again, 2 weeks before, please submit it. Don't come to us and say, hey, my internship starts tomorrow. I need an I-20. Not going to happen. Again, we have 10, not to say that we don't want to, but we have 10,000 students. We don't have the capacity to, bump you up in the line. So please, please, please work with us. Apply at least 2 weeks before because we want to get you that so you have the authorization with no issues. Okay, guys? Do you need a job offer to apply? Yes, you do. For CPT, yes, because what CPT is, it's not just a blanket go work. It is an authorization for you to work for a specific company or organization for a specific time period. So let's say you get an internship at Google, right? And the internship is during the fall semester from October 1st to December 15th. Okay, so then we will then give you a new I-20 to authorize you for that specific employer, Google, from the dates of the internship. So the internship offer letter needs to match that. Your requested dates of CPT need to match that. So we will authorize you per job. So CPT is per job and per semester. So let's say Google is like, great, we really like you. We want you to continue into the spring semester, throughout the winter break into the spring semester. Can you guys just extend it? You would have to, CPT is authorized per job and per semester. So you would need one authorization for the fall semester, and you want to continue with them in the spring, another CPT authorization following all the steps because we will have to then authorize you again for the spring semester. So each semester. How many hours a week can you work? Max of 20 hours a week during the fall and spring semesters. I will talk about exceptions to this, about different degree requirements. CPT, I'll dig in deep about this in a minute. But generally speaking, CPT is normally 20 hours a week max during the fall and spring semesters. I want to jump to a question that I get all the time. Maybe a student gets authorization to work at Google in the fall semester, right? They're like 20 hours a week working there. But maybe they also have an on-campus job working for the library, for example. This is a question I get all the time. So your CPT authorization and your ability to work on campus and as an F1 are 2 separate authorizations. You can do your on-campus employer for 20 hours a week and also your off-campus employment with proper CPT authorization at the same time, okay? That's a question I get all the time, so pointing out it early. What type of jobs are internships gonna do? Stuff that's related to your major. Is self-employment allowed on CPT? No. No self-employment while you are a student at all, okay? There's no circumstance where you can do self-employment while you are a student. After you graduate, which I'll talk about, we can talk about that a little bit, but while you're a student, no self-employment. Unpaid employment, yes, that's also okay during your CPTs. But again, even unpaid employment needs that CPT work authorization. And can you work for more than one employer at a time? Sure. But remember, it's CPT is employer specific, so you would need a CPT authorization per one. Yeah, question? Yeah. 20 hours a week max. So if you had two CPTs at the same time, 10 plus 10, max 20. 20 hours a week max during the fall and spring semesters. So if you have one internship that's 10 hours and you just complete CPT application for one, and then you have another complete CPT application for another, and they add up to 20 hours. That is okay. But again, we'll talk more about this as we go along.
As well. What are the dates that should go on that CPT? Like, can I start working from 1st of July, for example?
So the dates of your CPT cannot overlap with the classes of the next semesters, essentially. So, for example, you are doing CPT this fall. You can work up until the day before the spring semester starts. Right now, I know that there's getting a little into details. And I would probably say, come speak to us about your specific example. But generally speaking, I'm going to say, generally speaking, the dates of your CPT cannot overlap with the prior or subsequent classes. Correct. If it's a fall CPT, it could go later. Part of that, though, too, is right now we're capping it at December 19th, I think it was, for the end date, because there are not classes for the spring yet. So, but there is possibly like, hey, I want to continue with this a little bit further up until not overlapping with the spring. As long as you submit requests before the end date of the CPT, we can also still extend it. So again, a very specific question, but come to us about that specifically for us. Let me jump ahead. Again, a lot of information, guys. So good questions, but I got to keep us moving. OPT. What is OPT? Okay. All right, hold on a second. Let me take a step back. Before I talk about OPT, let's look at the name CPT. It means curricular practical training, right? So let's break that down. So in the eyes of the government, both CPT, OPT, and STEM OPT are academic experiences. Okay, so I want to frame that to you. I want you guys to think about it that way because the government views your work authorization through CPT as an academic experience. That's how the government sees it, right? I know that we're like, I want to go work, right? And I want to get this employment, right? And I want to get paid and make it this work experience. But the government sees this as practical training, hands-on training related to your curriculum. Okay, that's why you have to be enrolled in a course. That's why there are academic outcomes associated with your CPT, unless there's a degree requirement that you're doing it, which is you guys in your program, right? You have a CPT, an internship where you got to do to complete your degree. So there is, in the eyes of the government, this is meant to be an academic experience. So I want to reiterate that. So sometimes it's like helpful to think about how the government views this, right? Because they're like, it's not just go work. It is, there's learning outcomes associated. Same for OPT, which is the work authorization after you graduate. It's still practical training, optional practical training. It's optional. You don't have to do it. You can just go home after you graduate, but it's optional. And then it's practical training, hands-on related to your work authorization. And I'll also say that all of these, CPT, OPT, and STEM, are benefits of your F1 status, okay? So you are remaining on F1 status throughout all this time, okay? You're not changing statuses, anything like that, okay? These are benefits of F1 status. OPT, let's dig in deep a little bit this. OPT is for after you graduate. It's your post-completion practical training. Who authorizes it? Well, USCIS, which is the government, a government body who reviews them, is the one who authorizes you. So Bio will give you an OPT I-20. That's us recommending you for OPT, but then you will then apply to the government and it's going to take them months to approve you. Okay. So it is not, but whereas CPT, Bio does it in 5 business days, USCIS is going to take a few months to do it. Do you need a job offer to apply? No, you do not need a job offer to apply for OPT. You will apply for OPT, get the blanket work authorization, and then once you are approved for OPT, you will then report your employment and who you are working for on the OPT period. How many hours a week can you work? You will work minimum 20 hours a week on OPT. For a job to be counting as full-time, it's 20 hours a week or more. So jobs in OPT have to be a minimum of 20 hours a week. Again, anything you do off campus needs to be directly related to your major. Is self-employment allowed during OPT? Yes, it is. So this STEM extension, that's what I'm going to talk about, is an extension of your OPT. So you're not directly applying for STEM. Everyone will apply for OPT. And during that first year of OPT, self-employment is allowed, meaning that you start your own company here in the United States. It's a licensed company in the United States. It's related to your major. It's at least 20 hours a week. Then yes, you can do it. But I'll jump ahead to the STEM period. The kind of sucks, but the bad part is once you enter the STEM period, there's no self-employment allowed. So let's say you start a company here during your 12-month OPT, you're not able to continue it during the STEM period, which is a strict limitation. Okay, we'll talk more about this as we go along. Unpaid employment is also okay during the 12-month period. And you can work for multiple employers at the same time. Like you are just reporting all of your employment while on OPT. We're going to dig in deep on all of these as we go along. STEM OPT, again, STEM OPT is an extension of your OPT. So it is, again, an extension. It is a 2-year extension after your 12-month OPT. So you're in the last 90 days of your OPT, you will then apply for this extension for an additional 2 years. So you're not directly just applying for STEM OPT, and later applying for an extension. Again, you'll work with USCIS, and it's going to take them months to do it. Do I need to do a job to apply? Yes, for STEM. So you are applying for OPT, you're not applying with a job. During the STEM period, you are applying with a STEM eligible employer. That means that they are in the E-Verify system. They have the EIN number. A lot of our criteria, they must be a specific type of STEM eligible employer. How many hours of work can you work? Again, minimum of 20 hours a week during OPT or STEM. Jobs have to be, again, related to your major, but during STEM, you and the employer will do what's called a training plan, because remember, it's an academic experience. So you and the employer are going to tell the government what you're going to be trained on, what you're going to be learning through this experience. Is self-employment allowed? No, not during the 12-month, not during STEM extension, because again, there's a training plan. Who's training you if it's your own company? That's how the government sees it, right? Unpaid employment is not allowed during the STEM period. So you have to have paid employment, which I hope you get paid employment too during 12-month OPT. But, and can you work for more than one employer at a time? Yes, you can, but every single employer must meet all of the STEM eligibility criteria, paid, and they're going to E-Verify all of that information. Okay, so let's dig in deep on this. CPT, and I want to move quickly because I do want to give time for our J1s. So CPT basics, what is it? Again, it is while you're a student, pre-graduation work authorization, the proof of authorization that you will provide to the employers, right? Because when you get hired in the United States, you got to do like an I-9 verification check to see if you have employment eligibility. You're going to give them the I-20 that shows I'm eligible to work for Google from October 1st to December 15th, for example. And they'll say, cool, you're authorized to work for us during these dates. So that's the proof of authorization. Type of work you do, again, must be related to your major. Eligibility, to be eligible for off-campus employment authorization, CPT, you have to be here for one academic year, which is 2 full-time semesters. The exception to this is if you are completing your degree requirement internship. Okay, and my understanding is you all have the degree requirements. You have to get your degree in your program, you have to complete an internship during a designated internship period, right? So that degree requirement, so if you're doing the degree requirement CPT and it's before the 2 years, that's the only circumstance in which you are going to be able to do the CPT before you've been here for 1 year, okay? You have to have received an internship offer in that major field, right? Has to be a max of 20 hours a week during the academic year, fall and spring semesters. The exception to this 20 hours a week rule is if you are completing that degree requirement CPT, meaning in order to get my degree, I'm doing this internship and it's been approved as your degree requirement CPT, it could be authorized for full-time in a fall or spring semester if that's when you are required to do your degree requirement CPT. During the vacation periods, remember summer between semesters, it could be full-time as well, but not during the fall and spring semester if it's the course credit one. Authorization is done on a semester by semester basis. It must be either, remember academic, so it means either for a course or that degree requirement. And you can only begin once you have been approved for CPT, gotten that CPT I-20, and reached that start date that's listed on your new I-20, okay? So can't start earlier. What kind of work can you do? Well, lots of stuff. Short-term jobs, internships, practicums, just has to be related to your major, can be paid or unpaid. Again, CPT you should get CPT authorization even for unpaid work, no self-employment. Process, a quick overview on the process. Remember, please apply at least 2 weeks before the job or internship starts. We would hate for you to have to push back the start date or something like that because the paperwork's not in line, right? Or the process didn't follow the process. So make sure that you apply as early as possible. That way we can get it for you. Basically, first step's the hard part. You finding the job or internship. That's the hard part, right? After you do that, we have a CPT e-form that's found on our CPT website, and you will have to upload an employment verification letter. We have a very specific template that we want you to use. It's on our CPT website. You can blame bio, say, hey, my international office is picky. They want the work letter to look just like this in this template, okay? Because that's what we're going to be looking for. You will then submit your e-form request to us, upload that offer letter from the employer. It's going to get sent to your academic advisors first, because again, they're going to check. Does this relate to your major or not? To what is listed on your I-20? Is this related to your degree program or not? Yes.
Can I just say?
Absolutely.
For GSP students, when you're submitting these forms, it'll actually go to your career advisor.
Career advisor.
List your career advisor on the phone.
Thank you. Thank you. Career advisor for you guys. Yeah, these are generic slides. So then you're going to have to enroll in a course if you're doing it for the course credit, but if it's against the degree requirement, and you only get that degree requirement CPT once. So if you use it, that's it. You want to do a CPT again, you'll have to wait for that one academic year. And then you would also need to be enrolled in a class the same semester, a CPT specific class, the same semester you're doing that internship or job. Okay. So that's enroll in a class if you're not doing it for the degree requirement. And then it'll get sent to bio. And then within 5 business days, we'll give you the I-20. And then you can work from the start date listed on the I-20. Okay. Again, it is an academic requirement. So there either needs to be a course credit for it, or it's that degree requirement, meaning, and that's only for specific graduate programs, which you guys are in the specific program. So you can do that requirement once and during your dedicated internship period. If you're doing another one after you do the degree requirement and you've met that one academic year, then you would have to be enrolled in a course for that same semester. Who completes the CPT e-form? Well, you complete it first, and then you go to your career advisors here in your program. You'll need to input information about how it's related to your employment, how it's related to your degree, and then it's going to be approved by your career advisors here. I'm going to skip over to stuff on the right-hand side. This is kind of what the CPT e-form is going to look like. I'm going to move through it quickly. Just one of those e-forms like this where you'll upload the employment letter right in our template. You'll fill out all the information. This will go to your academic advisor for review. You'll also list how it's related to your major. So you're going to need to articulate how is this job or internship related to my major, because it's going to need to be confirmed by your department. Then the academic advisors will say, yep, this makes sense. Then they'll tell us whether it's degree requirement or CPT or course credit. And if it's course credit, they'll tell you what is the appropriate class for you to get enrolled in. And then it'll get sent back to bio. Bio, it will take us 5 business days. Remember, the 5 business days start since after it's been sent back by your academic advisors. Okay, so again, please start this process early. Don't expect us to we just don't have the capacity. We would love to help you out and make it faster and make expedites. We just can't with our small team and number of students we have. Okay. I come from a small school where I've worked at multiple universities, multiple small schools where every single international student had my cell number, knew where I lived. They'd be like, hey, Jeremiah, can I come to your house and get my I-20 signed? It's not that relationship here. We just have so many students. We would love to work with you and get it faster. Just can't, guys. I'm sorry. So it starts after your academic advisor sends this to us. Sometimes it's delayed because the request form's not right or the employment letter's missing things. No expedites are available. Please work with us on that. Apply as early as possible because we want you to start your job or internship on time. Again, 20 hours a week fall spring semester unless it's the degree requirement. No limit in the summer between semesters. If you're doing it in the summer for course credit, you know, it's this weird session A, B, C, D type of, you can get enrolled in it for the course credit. You just get enrolled in a course in one of these summer sessions. Doesn't need to be exact same time you're doing the internship, but if it's in the summer. And if you're graduating in summer, it's your last semester, well, then it's no longer a vacation period for you, and you can only get part-time CPT in that situation. So I'll skip ahead with that one. Other CPT issues that we often hear, CPT sometimes are like, oh, I must have it. It's my right. Well, that's not necessarily how it works. CPT is a benefit of F1 immigration status. It's not a right. So sometimes they're like, hey, this is, I deserve this internship or job or things. I got this internship and I want to do it. You must give me it to me. Well, you know, department is not required to approve it or accommodate it. Like if the employment doesn't match what's related to your major, you know, if you don't meet the eligibility requirements as well. So that's often we get pushback sometimes with this. It is a benefit of your immigration status. It is not something that's compulsory either. So just keep that in mind. The government doesn't say it's something you automatically get, right? More than one internship is possible at a time, but remember each one has to have a separate authorization. And again, Bio strongly recommends that CPT, even its unpaid internships, particularly in 2025, guys. 2025 is not a time to be messing around. 2025 is not a time to be messing around. Too much CPT. I often get this question too. It's like, how much is too much CPT? Okay. Remember, CPT can be authorized for part-time or full-time. If you use a lot of part-time CPT, well, that's okay. But if you use 12 months of full-time CPT at the same degree level, that will make you ineligible for OPT. Okay. So again, part-time or full-time. So if you get authorized, and it's pretty rare for you guys to probably get authorized for a full-time CPT for 12 months. That's really more for PhD students who are here for like 6 years and every summer they're doing a full-time internship. And then it adds up, right? So if they use 12 months of full-time, yeah, they lose their OPT. So just be mindful of this. Let's say though you did another master's let's say you did an MBA at Harvard and then transferred here. And you did 9 months of full-time CPT at Harvard, and then you came here and you have your degree requirement. Yeah, we can authorize you for it, but it's at the same degree level. So once you use the 12 months of CPT at full-time at the same degree level, multiple schools included, that would be the end of, you cannot use OPT at that time. But remember, CPT is an academic experience. It's not meant to be just a bunch of ongoing work authorizations. So even if it's part-time, if you use a bunch of CPTs, there's nothing against that, but your record will likely get higher scrutiny in those cases, okay? Because the government's like, wait, why are you having all these off-campus academic experiences, right? So it is meant to be an academic experience, and a lot of them could lead to even part-time higher scrutiny of your records. Always, always, always keep good records of your CPT stuff. All your CPT I-20s, keep them. You will need them for applying for OPT, and always just keep those as well. Records of the academic work related to your CPT, again, an academic experience in the eyes of the government, and those employment verification letters as well. Keep those always for your own records. You will need those CPT I-20s for OPT in particular. More information about CPT. Again, I'm not sharing any slides because this is like a crash course in this. We have a lot more details on our CPT website, and I want you to go to that website, really read it. I know it's a lot of dense information. It's super boring. Maybe read it before bed to go to sleep, but please read this stuff. If stuff doesn't make sense, come and speak to us. We are here to help you, guide you through this. Okay, continuing on F1, keeping an eye on time for our J1 students too. So OPT is the work authorization for after you graduate, okay? Optional practical training. What is it, basically? Okay, basics of this, it is a 12-month work authorization for after you graduate. The proof of authorization that you'll get, once you're approved for OPT, you're eventually going to get in the mail a physical card called an employment authorization document. This is the card that you're going to have to show to employers that proves that you have the work authorization in the United States, okay? So you got to wait for that card. That's a part of the I-9 check to check whether you have employment eligibility in the United States, is that EAD card. Types of work that you can do, again, even after you graduate, must be directly related to your major, needs to be at least 20 hours a week on OPT, and jobs could be paid or unpaid. Eligibility, you have to be graduating, of course, right? But you must have completed 1 academic year or 2 full-time semesters. I know your program is more than that, so you should be fine here, but making sure that you're completing your degree and you've done at least 2 full-time semesters in F1 status. No previous OPT at the same degree level. So again, maybe you did your MBA at Harvard and then came here afterwards. If you use OPT at the master's level before, you have used your OPT at the master's level and you do not get OPT again. It's once per degree level. So bachelor's, master's, PhD at each degree level, you would get OPT, but only once. When can you start? You can only begin working. Let's say you apply, you're waiting. It takes months. Finally, you're approved for OPT and you get your EAD card. You get approved for OPT, you get your EAD card, and there will be a start date listed on your EAD card. So even if you get approved early and you get your EAD card, maybe your start date's not for another few weeks in the future. Just because you've been approved for OPT and you got your EAD card, you still have to wait till you reach the start date listed on that EAD card, okay? The process for this, it is a complicated process, but the process for this is the first step is you're gonna request an OPT I-20 from us. That will be us recommending you for OPT. And then you're gonna take that I-20 and then you are going to apply to USCIS, and it's gonna, after applying to USCIS, it's gonna take them somewhere between 1 and 5 months. Most cases are right around 3 months, okay? You don't need that job offer to apply either. And reporting responsibilities, after you are approved for OPT, you are responsible for updating your employment. Anything you do, like you change your address, you change your phone number, you add a job, you stop a job, you add a second job. We have our own system called the SSU Hub where you report everything after you graduate, okay? On this OPT process, first thing that you need to do, it is a long process and a lot of details. Please go to our OPT website and our OPT tutorial. We have a long PowerPoint. It's like 70 pages long that walks you through this process. Recently too, we have 2 videos on our OPT website. So if you don't get enough of hearing me talk today, there's 2 videos where I'm actually doing a what is OPT, where I went an overview of what OPT is, and then another one, it's like how to apply for OPT. So there are videos on our website of me explaining all this more in depth too, okay? So check out our website, check out our tutorial, watch those videos. I think it will be helpful for you. Then when you're in your last semester, you apply for OPT in your very last semester, because remember it is post-completion. You will submit that OPT I-20 request form. It'll get sent to your advisors here in your department who are confirming for us, yes, they are on track to graduate this semester. Everything's good, right? And then it gets sent back to us. We'll get you a new OPT I-20 that recommends you for OPT. And then you're going to follow those instructions on the OPT tutorial and submit your application to USCIS, okay? And that's called an I-765 application. You need to be physically present in the United States when you submit that application to USCIS, okay? So if you're on vacation back home and you're like, oh, let me take some time while I'm at the airport and do this. They are going to check your I-94 to see where you're at when you submitted your application. So make sure you're physically present here when you submit it. And again, you'll get an EAD card in the mail, and you can only start working once you receive that EAD card and you reach the start date on your EAD card. Yes.
Can we apply to the OPT like before graduating?
Yes.
So we can work as a.
I'm going to get to that. Good question. When should I apply? In your final semester. You can apply up to 90 days before the program end date on your I-20. So look at the program end date on your I-20. Your ability to apply for OPT is based all around that program end date. You can apply up to 90 days before. Remember, it takes them like 3 months usually, and you can apply for OPT up to 3 months before. So it makes sense then for you to apply as early as possible, right? We do recommend apply early, apply early, apply early. So yes, apply. You can apply as early as 90 days before, and I'm going to talk more about the window to apply. What is your completion date? Well, look at your basically some more details here, but look at your I-20, the program end date on your I-20. If that's not matching when you're actually graduating, come and speak to us. We can make an adjustment to it. You may need to do a program extension, or maybe it's too long and you're graduating early. We would shorten it, but your ability to apply for OPT will be based on your program end date on your I-20. Let's look at that timeline of it a little bit about your question. It's a great question. But before I do that, remember, I'm going to say apply early, and there's some times for you to apply. Keep in mind, one thing I want to point out from the beginning, don't wait till the last day. Please don't. But if you do, every year I see somebody wait till the last day, USCIS, the government body who reviews your applications, are in the UTC time zone, okay? So there's a deadline for you to apply. For example, once you get that OPT I-20, you must submit your application to USCIS within 30 days. If USCIS receives your application on day 31, you will be denied for OPT. So don't wait to day 30. Don't wait to day 30. But if you do, keep in mind that they're in this UTC time zone, which is like 9 hours ahead of us in California. So I have seen students wait till the last day, apply, and I'm like, what time did you apply? And they're like 9 p.m. I'm like, you're going to get denied for OPT because that means USCIS received it the next day. So don't wait till the last day, but keep in mind this time zone that USCIS is in. Every year we see some students get denied for OPT because they apply last minute and they don't keep in mind that time zone. Okay, let's look at, is anybody graduating this fall? How about spring? Spring 2026? All right, so I see about half of you here with the spring 2026 end date. So I'm going to use this as our guide to talk you through this a little bit. So the program end date on your I-20 most likely is May 15th, 2026. Can anybody confirm that's what theirs is? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah. That's right. Excellent. So should be most likely May 15th, 2026 is the program end date on your I-20. That means you can apply up to 90 days before the program end date on your I-20. So the earliest you could apply would be about February 14th, right? And then you can actually apply. Your window to apply. So you also have that 60-day grace period after your program end date to remain in the United States, pack your things, sell your car, and depart the United States. So as long as you're still physically present here in the United States, you can also apply during that grace period. So actually your window to apply opens up as early as 90 days before, but goes during your 60-day grace period as well. If you depart the United States without applying for OPT, that is an end of your F1 status and you cannot apply for OPT. But if as long as you're still here in the United States during that grace period, you could apply. I don't recommend waiting this long. I recommend you apply as early as possible. And I'm going to say that again and again and again, apply early. But you can apply during your grace period. Sometimes students are like, I'm not applying for OPT, but then later they change their minds and they're like, actually, I do. I found this job and now I want to apply for it. I'm still here and it's during my grace period. Cool, you can still apply. And then when you're applying for OPT, when you're requesting your OPT I-20 from us, remember I said that EAD card start date, right? So you have to wait till your EAD card, you get your EAD card and you reach the start date. So when you're applying for OPT and requesting your OPT I-20, you have to tell us, and we're going to do it when we issue you the OPT I-20, what you want your start date to be. And I'm not going to go in depth on super strategy with this today. There's a lot of strategy behind this. And I would say, come speak to us if you want to talk about that. But you'll choose a start date somewhere after you graduate during those 60 days. Okay. So for example, if you want to be able to start early, choose an earlier start date. Or if you're like, I don't want to start till later and I want to give myself time to look for jobs more, maybe choose a later start date. So there's some strategy about that. And I'll talk more about why you may want to do that as we go along. How do I choose that start date? Okay. So, well, don't wait for a job offer. Sometimes students are like waiting to apply for OPT because they're like, I want to find a job first. So I want to know when they want me to start and then I'm going to apply. We don't recommend that. We recommend that you apply for OPT as early as possible and think about what's your ideal plans. Like, for example, when do you want to be available to start working, right? So when you choose those start dates, you're selecting, this is when I want my OPT to start. Also think about, do I have any travel or vacation plans too? So think about what's important to you. So if you choose an earlier start date, right? If you choose an early start date, that means that's when means you can be available to start work more immediately, but you may risk some unemployment time. I'll talk about that in a second. Or if you want a later start date, it's okay for you to take more time to look for jobs, but you understand and you just need to communicate to employers, hey, I've chosen this late start date, so I can't start working until later. So let's look at this again for the spring completion. So going back to this, let's say you apply early, you listen to Jeremiah and you apply early, and you chose the earliest date possible, May 16th. So let's say you apply early and you get approved before May 16th. Then your EAD card will show me if you were approved before your requested start date, they're going to give you a requested start date. So let's say you get approved for May 15th or May 16th, excuse me. Then two things happen when you are approved for OPT and you reach that start date on your EAD card. One, that is when your employment eligibility will begin. So you can start working on that date once you get that EAD card. Two, while you're on OPT, you get 90 days of unemployment, 90. 90 days of unemployment. That 90 days is going to start counting down from when you were approved for OPT and you reached a start date. So if you're like, I have not been able to find jobs, or I'm really nervous about finding a job, I'm going to give myself more time because, again, let's say you choose the later start date of July 14th, for example, the latest possible start date. Well, let's say you listen to Jeremiah and you apply early, you get approved maybe sometime in May, you get your EAD card, but the date on your EAD card is going to be the date you requested of July 14th. That means even though you've been approved for OPT and you have your EAD card, your employment eligibility does not begin until July 14th in that date, but also your unemployment clock's not counting down yet. It is not counting down to that start date. So it's a little bit of strategy where you are in the job search, what's important to you, whether you want to travel, things like this. But just keep in mind, you have to choose that start date and it's unique to your situation. Timing considerations, remember, don't wait till the last day about anything, but once you get your OPT I-20, so remember, do not submit your application to USCIS until you have received your OPT I-20, but once you get it, it'll have an issue date. It'll say when it was issued by bio. USCIS must receive your application within 30 days of your I-20, that issue date on the first page. Remember, you have to be physically present here. If they receive it on day 31, you will be denied for OPT. And remember, they're in that UTC time zone. Remember, it takes them around 3 months or more to approve you, right? The only way to speed this up, and there's only one way, imagine this, the US government wants money. You can pay a premium processing fee. Right now it's an extra $1,600 something, but this will guarantee that they were going to review your application within 30 business days. Sometimes students are like, I applied late, but I have a job waiting for me, or I want to get my approved so I can safely get my EAD card because that is something you will need for travel. So depending on your situation, this may be helpful for you, but this is an option. This is a relatively new option, right? Imagine that the government wants money, more money, but it is an option for you to speed up your case, and the only way. Applying late can lead to less than 12 months of OPT. So let me go on that note. Let me just say, going back to this one, let's say, for example, you chose the latest start date possible of July 14th. But remember, you can apply during that grace period. Let's say you apply for OPT on July 1st, right? You're still in the United States. You wait. You finally apply for OPT on July 1st, right? Here in your grace period. Remember, it's going to take the government like 3 months to approve you, right? And the latest that you can choose for your start date is July 14th. So if you get approved for maybe 3 months, let's say July 1st, maybe they don't approve you until September, right? September 1st, for example. They're not going to give you a July 14th start date. They're going to give you a start date when you're actually approved for OPT, but your end date is going to be a maximum of July 13th, 2027 in that situation. So again, more reason, apply early, apply early. If you do apply late, you may lose some of your 12 months of the OPT, okay? Your I-20 is going to come back with a travel signature on the second page, as always. And these are the top 4 reasons we students get denied. Denials do happen. Every year we students get denied for OPT. They're rare, but basically they happen when you don't follow the instructions on our tutorial, okay? These are the top 4 reasons they get denied. The number 1 reason we see students get denied is they get that OPT I-20 and they wait around and they don't apply to USCIS. And they apply after more than 30 days after receiving the OPT I-20. Happens every year. Please don't get that. Once you get that, basically we'll get that OPT I-20 and apply right away, right? But every year, that's the number 1 reason we see students get denied is they wait too long. Sometimes we see students jumping to step 2. They apply to USCIS without receiving that OPT I-20, right? Do step 1 first, get the OPT I-20, then go to step 2, applying to USCIS. Remember, sometimes we see students applying after their 60-day grace period. Remember, UTC time zone 2, don't wait till the last day. But if you submit after that 60-day grace period, you will be denied for OPT. And the last thing is when you're applying, there's a certain category, and it's one of those weird drop-down menus, like you click on it and it scrolls. So be careful about what you click. So C3B, post-completion OPT is why you apply. And sometimes we see students be like, oh, I'm a STEM major. I'm applying for STEM OPT. No, you're applying for OPT first. It's really easy to do it too. C3C is the STEM OPT. So every year we see somebody just applying for STEM instead of 12-month OPT, and they get denied for OPT because they applied for the wrong category. So these are the top reasons we do see students get denied. I know it's early for all of you, but just keep these things in mind. And remember, this is about, we've already discussed this, right? You can only start working once, even after your academic program, your program end date, you apply early, right? You choose a start date for way in the future, you get approved for OPT, and you get your EAD card. But again, you can't start working until you get that start date, okay? And we do have like OPT workshops, the events that I actually, part of my role is I run workshops and events and programs. And that's why I recently had some 2 weeks ago, the what is OPT and how to apply. We're going to have more of those every semester. We have those each month. And we do have those videos online that walk you through that process too. And if you have questions on this, come and see us. Again, we are here to help. We are the campus experts that can guide you through this process. It is confusing. Okay, I just want to be clear. It is confusing. It is a bureaucratic mess. We are here to help you, guide you through all of it. Travel on OPT, this is a question we always get, is like, can I travel? Well, it is before the program end date on your I-20. It's, you're still a student, so certainly it's fine to travel, right? Well, we can never guarantee your reentry because it's up to CBP agents, but you are still an F1, you're able to travel. In this middle column on our we have a travel and OPT website, and this chart is there, confusing looking chart. This is basically a list of documents you would need with you to return to the United States. So the middle one is about while your OPT is still pending, meaning it has been submitted to a USCIS, but they're still working on your application. You can travel while your OPT is pending, even after you submit your application to USCIS, while your OPT case is pending, even after your 60-day grace period, you will remain in F1 status. But there are risks to traveling while your OPT case is still pending. It is much safer to travel after your OPT has been approved and you get that EAD card, okay? So be mindful of the docs you would need. Again, it is much safer to travel after you've been approved for OPT and get that EAD card, because that EAD card is actually something you will need to reenter the United States. So somebody's risk of traveling while your OPT is pending, that EAD card's only going to get mailed to you in the United States. So if you're back home in your home country, how are you going to get the EAD card that you'll need to reenter? Big question there, right? If you get mail, such as a request for evidence, that could be hard for you outside the United States. Again, if you are denied for OPT after the grace period and you're outside the United States, or after the program ended on your I-20, and for that fact, you will not be able to reapply for OPT. But if you're still here in the United States and it's within your grace period and you're denied and you're still here in that grace period, you could reapply, right? If you're approved for while you're outside the United States, you got to figure out a way to get that EAD card sent to you. The visa, which is a stamp in your passport, which is an entry document, you'll need the EAD card to apply for that too. So again, all these risks, it's so much safer to wait until you're approved for OPT and get that EAD card. So and then the last thing I will say on this, I think, is that sometimes people are like, hey, somebody called me about my OPT case saying I need to pay more money. USCIS is not going to call you. They're not, the government's not going to call you in general. If you get a phone call from anybody asking about payments, your immigration status, things like this, do not give them information. Do not tell them anything. Try to get their name and their contact information. Find out what you can from them. You don't tell them anything, and then you come to us and tell us what's going on. Okay? We will guide you through this. They're not going to call you. If they do, it's a scam. Okay? There are bad people out there. They know that you guys here on F and J1 status are international students trying to figure all this out, and they're trying to prey on you. Don't fall for it, guys. Bad people are out there. If you get it, don't give information on the phone. Talk to us and we will guide you on what to do. Frequently asked questions about OPT. I requested the start date of the latest start date possible. Can I change that start date? Well, if it's before you've submitted your application to USCIS, maybe, right? We'd have to cancel the first I-20, check with you, then give you a new one. But once you submit your application to USCIS, you're stuck with that start date. So you got to think carefully about your situation and decide your start date. What if I can't find a job? Well, you have 90 days of unemployment that you can use starting from when you've been approved for OPT and reach that start date. What counts as employment? Again, needs to be related to your field of study, 20 hours a week, paid, unpaid, volunteer, work for hire, all these different things, really flexible during a 12-month OPT. Do not work anything that's not related to your field of study. Basically, what can I do? US company, 20 hours a week related to your major. During the 12-month OPT, pretty flexible. What do I need to report to bio? Everything, everything. While you're in OPT, we have our own system called the SSU Hub. The government requires you to report any changes within 10 days. That includes employment, changing your address, phone number, everything you do. Can I extend my OPT? Okay, I'm going to go quick on this. So there is the STEM extension. Again, you're not applying directly for the STEM extension. You are applying for OPT first. And then in the last 90 days of your OPT, if you're in a STEM major, you can apply for a STEM extension with a STEM employer. Okay, this STEM period is so much more strict. 12-month OPT, there's a lot of flexibility, right? Your own company's okay, unpaid work's okay. There's quite a bit of flexibility on the 12-month OPT. It is much more strict during this STEM OPT period about the types of employers, what you can do, all of that, and the requirements for employers are also much more strict. I'm not going to go into this in depth today because it is very different, and I also don't want to get mixed up OPT versus STEM. There's also this gap extension. So if maybe you're applying for an H-1B, which is a whole nother conversation based on the news, guys. But if you are approved for H-1B, and that is an employment-based working visa where you will work with your employers and the legal counsel at your company to apply for H-1B, and then that would be showing up on your I-20 as well. For the STEM extension, again, you will only apply for the STEM extension in the last 90 days of your 12-month OPT period. And that gap, again, is what I was talking about, which is essentially your H-1B will have an effective date. So if you're on OPT, this gap will show up on your I-20, which will bridge the gap between the end of your OPT to the start of your H-1B. Not getting in super depth on this today, but that is something and I'm going to skip over this stuff about H-1B filing. What I will say with this is that you will be applying for H-1B with your employer. Crash course on H-1B. Basically, crash course on H-1B is that it is a lottery-based system for paid employment. Your company, if they like you, will put your name in a lottery. If your name is selected, then your company can choose to file for you in the spring. And then, there's dates for this, and all of this, you will be working with your legal counsel. So again, I don't want to get into this because I'm not an immigration attorney, and I don't want to misspeak either. I know just enough to be dangerous about H-1B. But you'll be working with your legal counsel on that. They'll put your name in a lottery in the spring. If you're selected, they will then apply for you with an effective date in the future. All of this stuff is on our websites, OPT, STEM, H-1B, all of this stuff is on our website in depth. Again, this is a crash course in all of this information today. Of course, you have that 60-day grace period after your program end date. If you get approved for OPT, you will then have a 60-day grace period from the end of your EAD card. Whether that's OPT or STEM. I told you I was going to be going fast, right? A lot of information. We have about 30 minutes that I can cover the J1 stuff, but before I do, I'm going to spend about just a few minutes for F1s, questions on CPT, OPT, or STEM. Question here.
So we need to drop off of CPT. What about the capstone proposal? Like, how is that?
So CPT is for the work authorization. So if you're part of your capstone, which is an academic experience, right? This requires you to go and work off campus, right? Then you would have to have that offer letter from the employer if that's what you're doing. I think some more, I would probably say if it's something specific to your case.
Does the capstone proposal count as a job offer? Because like we are required to do a capstone with like a US client or like an international client, but like in the case of US client, does the capstone proposal count as a job offer?
That's a specific question I can't answer you to without seeing exactly what you're talking about. Can you, yeah, please.
So the proposal is, if I'm understanding correctly, is the description that a client is submitting to the school for students to review and decide if they want to apply for it. The client still has to make the decision on, let's say 10 students apply. They still have to make the decision on which student they want to work with. And at that point, once, like, let's say they decide to choose you, then they would have to, you would have to ask them to submit the
offer
employer, what is it? The
Employment verification letter.
employment verification letter. Once it's confirmed that you'll be doing your capstone project with that particular organization.
So before you begin the employment with that organization as a part of your capstone, you will need the CPT. But in the early stages, right, until you have secured that, and you can't begin that work, but during those early stages, until but you cannot begin that work with the employer until you get that CPT.
And Jeremiah, can I
Yes.
just clarify one thing that
Yes, of
you
course.
mentioned earlier? So the students in the MDP and MPP programs, they do have 2 degree requirements. They have the summer internship and the capstone, and the students in our MPA program have the capstone as their degree requirement.
Got it.
So just to clarify that.
Thank you for that. So yeah, then you have these 2, during those dedicated internship periods, that's when you would do it. But if it is, kind of back to your point, like I think our earlier question about what if this was an on-campus for your capstone, something like that. Well, then certainly if it's an on-campus apply for a capstone, you don't need the authorization. But if you're doing this capstone project for off-campus prior to beginning the work there, you would need a CPT authorization. I do want to keep moving to other questions. To get more in detail on it, come to an advisor. I see a lot of hands. Okay, so.
CPT ready for capstone for an off-campus?
Anything off-campus while you're a student, CPT. Yes.
Sorry, another question for capstone, because it could be for US clients or international clients.
Okay, good question. I want to clarify this. I see people leaving. Very important question here. While you are physically present in the United States, while your butt is here in the United States, you must get work authorization for anything you do off campus. And we can only authorize you for US employers. Okay, so you need work authorization for anything off campus. But we cannot authorize you for foreign entities. So while you're physically present here in the United States, no working for foreign entities at all.
What if I'm already, assuming that I have a potential client working for internationally, and I just basically have a relationship with them, and just to satisfy the capstone project agreement, I
No
can't do
employment
that
for foreign entities while you're here in the United States.
whatsoever?
No.
Okay, thank you.
It is. We cannot authorize you for working for foreign entities or with foreign entities, and everything you do off campus has to be authorized. Only US employers.
Okay.
Yes.
So capstone person is from an organization that's outside.
Can you guys use the microphone so that the folks on Zoom can
Yeah,
hear?
sorry.
Sorry.
What if the capstone organization is somewhat something
I would-
outside?
I would say in your specific situation, if there's come and speak to us about your situation, when you would be doing this, where you would be doing this, all of this would be important. I'm going to say again, if you're physically present in the United States, you need to work authorization and no foreign entities. Yes.
If you change your mind about the OPT, how do you just abandon it or just?
Yeah, if you've applied for OPT, for example, and you submitted your application and you got approved for OPT and you decide not to do it, there's an early end of OPT thing that we can end your F1 status then once you depart the United States. Keep us informed, basically. But once you submit your application, like to USCIS, they're not going to give you your money back. Imagine that, the government, right? Okay. Any other F1 questions? And I see our guy left for his second follow-up question, but. Okay. I'm going to skip the J1 stuff now, guys, because our J1 students have been very patient with me. J1s, okay? For you J1 students, you also need the work authorization to do anything off campus, okay? All these same rules essentially apply to you as well, right? Anything off campus, you do paid or unpaid, no foreign entities, all these same rules apply. The work authorization you will get is just a different work authorization called academic training, okay? So one thing I want to clarify for you J1 students is that, I talked a lot for these F1 students about the differences between CPT and OPT, right? CPT while they're a student, OPT after they graduate. For you J1s, there is nothing different. You have academic training. You will use academic training before you graduate and after you graduate. Academic training, it's the same thing, and you only get a certain amount of time of it. So you use a little bit of it while you're here. That means you have less time after you graduate. Let's look into this more in depth. So academic training. Academic training is the work authorization for you J1s for anything off campus, paid or unpaid. The proof of authorization that you will get is an updated DS 2019, which is going to list your employment information on it. Okay. That is what you will show then to the employers to say, yes, I've been authorized to work. And we'll also give you a supplemental letter saying these are the dates of it, all that stuff. So you'll give the employer your DS 2019 plus the letter. Type of work you can do must be related to your major. Just like F1s, everything you do off campus has to be related to your major. Hey, did you have a question? I know you left. You got a final question before I split up the J1s.
Yeah, so for the capstone project.
Yes.
That we have to do during the spring semester.
Okay.
You said it has to be authorized as a CPT, but like I already have leads with clients from back home. So do I need authorization?
I don't fully understand the question.
My sponsor for the capstone, so the client is gonna be non-US based. Do we need authorization?
If you're physically present in the United States, yes, you need the authorization, but we can't give you that authorization. So you couldn't do that.
What does that mean? Sorry.
Anytime, if you are physically present in the United States, we must give you work authorization, CPT work authorization for anything off campus, paid or unpaid. We cannot authorize foreign entities. Therefore, you cannot work for foreign.
The thing is like the client is from back home. So I don't need the work authorization either here or back home because like they're based back home.
If you are here doing the work, you need the work authorization.
Last year, there were some students who did capstone international.
No, I will say this, I'm not going to argue with this. You need to come to an advising session to speak to us about your specific situation individually. Okay? That's it.
Thank you.
No foreign entities. There's no budging on this. 2025 is not a time to be messing around with this either. Okay? Let's go back to you J1s. Again, anything you do off campus must be directly related to your major. Okay? Eligibility for this. J1s, you have to have been here for one semester. Remember those F1s, they had to be here for a whole academic year. You J1s can start your academic training after being here one semester. Eligibility, again, you have to receive an internship or job in the major field of study. Again, it must be related to your major and have an internship or job related to that. Hours per week. Remember, just like the F1s, during max of 20 hours a week during the fall and spring semesters, there's no limit in the vacation periods. Minimum of 20 hours a week after you graduate. For again, academic training is pre and post completion. So while you're a student, there's this 20 hours a week during the fall and spring, unless it's the degree requirement. Remember, degree requirement could be authorized for full time. But after you graduate, it has to be at least 20 hours a week. Authorization for you J1s for academic training. Academic training is authorized for each job or internship. So each job or internship will require a new academic training authorization for you. Okay. So we will add this to your record and each one needs to be authorized. When can you start? You can only begin once you've received your new updated DS 2019 and you have reached the start date listed on your DS 2019. Eligibility again, you have to be a J1 degree-seeking student or an exchange student. None of you guys are exchange. Have to have completed at least one semester. You have to have the job offer first, because again, you're applying with a specific J1 employer. And the job must be related to your major field of study. Again, just like F1s, this is going to be approved by your career services advisors here. You have to be, for you J1s, right? You have that health insurance requirement. This is the Department of State requirements. So throughout all of your academic training, including post-completion academic training, you also have to have the J1, a health insurance provider that meets the J1 requirements, right? While you're here, right, it's SHIP, but you know, your SHIP's going to run out after you graduate. So you have to find another J1 eligible health insurance provider to continue that. And that is a requirement for the Department of State. That includes for your J2 dependents if you have. How much academic training time do you get? This is a long, confusing slide. I kind of want to jump to this one because it's a little simpler here. Basically, what I would say is the amount of academic training you get is based on how long your program is. And your program, remind me guys, is it a 2-year program here? What is it? 2 years? So if it's a 2-year program, you will get 18 months, okay? That means you get 18 months of academic training while you're a student and after you graduate. It says STEM degree here. There's the STEM extension part. Everyone's gonna get the 18 months of academic training. You can apply, just like the F1s, you can apply for a STEM extension too, but it's not much. Like these other last ones get the 2 years. I mean, you guys get like a 2-month STEM extension for you guys. So it's not much, but there is that extension. I know, shaking my head, I too. Like Department of State is the one who runs the J1s, and they're anyways. So the amount of time you get is based on how long your program is. So you guys in a 2-year program is going to be 18 months. So again, you get that pre or post completion. So let's say you guys have these 2 internship periods, right, for your capstone and the other degree requirement. You do 2 of them. Let's say you do 3 months and then another 2 months. So let's say you use 5 months of academic training. That gets subtracted from your 18 months. That means for post completion, you only have 13 months that you can continue working on academic training after you graduate. Okay. How many hours a week can I work? Fall and spring semester, part-time, 20 hours a week max, unless it's that degree requirement, right? Which you guys have the 2, so that's good. In the summers, between semesters, if it's not the degree requirement one, it can be full-time. And after you graduate, it must be at least 20 hours a week to count. So it can be more, needs to be full-time. Yes, question real quick.
What if your summer internship was not in the US?
Are you in the US?
No.
If you are not in the US, again, this goes back to the question we kept talking about and with the other ones, right? If you are physically present here, you need the work authorization and we cannot authorize you for foreign entities. If you're not physically present here, you go back to your home country, for example, in the summer, well, you're not physically present here then. So nothing we can authorize you for. So if you are physically present here, you need the work authorization. If you're not physically present here and it's for a foreign entity, it's not related to US immigration then.
So it doesn't count to your number of
No, because again, you're not applying for, we are not authorizing you for this employment. We can't authorize you for this foreign entity. So it's not going to count into your total. So if you were outside of the United States during a vacation period and it's for a foreign company, it is no longer related to your US immigration or your work authorizations, and you can do what you want. So the question was if it's part of the mandatory capstone. Well, if you, again, this is all about the work authorization. So if you're not physically present here, if you're physically present, then yes, the same rules apply. No foreign entities. Can't authorize it. Can't do it. But if you're not here in the United States and it's part of what that's academic related, it's not immigration related, we can't authorize you for it. This is not a violation of your J1 status then. Again, if you're inside the United States, you need a work authorization. No foreign companies. If you're outside the United States and it's during a break from your studies, because you're supposed to be here during your studies. If you're outside the United States and it's a break in your studies, the summer break, for example, and it's for a foreign company, then that's okay.
I'll just clarify my understanding of.
Yes, please.
So the summer internship, if I'm doing it in the United States, I need work authorization.
Correct.
And that only happens with US entity. Plus
Correct.
we get deducted from the 18-month work authorization period, academic
Correct.
period. If, let's say I go to some other country for my internship, no authorization and nothing gets deducted from the 18-month period. It doesn't relate to the immigration status.
Yeah. And I would say before doing any of this, guys, remember 2025 is not a time to mess around. Run it by us. Come and speak to us and say, hey, Bio, this is what I'm planning to do. I'm going to be back home in my home country from these dates. I'm part of my capstone. I'm doing this program for this foreign company. Is this okay? Again, we don't want to say no, or we're not. We are here to protect your immigration status. So sometimes that makes people get mad and if they can't work for a foreign company, sorry.
Jeremiah, there's a question in the Zoom chat.
Okay, yeah.
Kehoe, could you ask your question?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, thank you so much for today. I have a F1 visa and I'm wondering if the having client international organization as a client that United States is also a member of the organization.
I would say, please come to us in an advising session. I don't want to give a blanket answer for that because it would really depend on the specific organization.
Okay.
So I would say check with us first, please. That's a great question. I just don't want to give you a blanket answer right now without knowing more details about it. It would depend on the nature of the organization, where you're physically doing it. And yeah, I would say those 2 things: the nature of the organization and where you are physically present would be the 2 things I would question you about. But I would say bring specifically your case. This is the company or the organization. Is this something I could do or not? Please come to us. I would love to look in depth with you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, for the F1 visa, there's
Yes.
a 2-year residency requirement.
That's J1, you mean?
I mean J1,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry. Yeah, the J1 visa. So are you able to use the academic training, the 18 months after your program?
Yeah, so the
Even
2-year
whether-
home residency thing, so this academic training is a benefit of J1 status. You will then, after your J1 status is completed, so academic training is a part of your J1 status. Your J1 status will continue while you're on post-completion academic training.
Okay.
Once your academic training and your J1 status is then ended, that's when you need to fulfill the 2-year home residency requirement. Does that answer your question? Okay, another question.
Just on the same. So in case I work during my program,
Okay.
will that be deducted from the 18 months just to get it right?
You work in your program, can you?
Yes, like during the 2 years, if I work either on campus or outside the school, will the time be reduced from
Are you talking about the 2-year home residency requirement or
No.
just the authorization? So if you're working on campus, again, the on-campus work authorization is different from your academic training. That does not deduct from your academic training.
Oh, okay.
If you're working off campus, anything you do, like it needs to be authorized, and that will deduct from your 18 months.
Okay, that's okay.
So my first semester is going to end on 19th of December 2025.
Okay.
So it means I am eligible for academic training from 20th of December 2025. Is it?
Yeah, so again, academic training is also authorized per semester. So again, it can't overlap with the fall semester date. So technically, yeah, we could start you as early in that December part. I would also of course, your offer letters need to match and all that, but yeah, it can't overlap with the dates of your first semester. Once you have completed that, then that's when your eligibility will begin. And it's a little strange. We would look at a case-by-case situation if it's like of a job starting sometime in that break in between. But generally speaking, from an eligibility standpoint, yes, you've met those requirements. Let me keep going with my presentation piece just to kind of keep us moving a little bit. The process of this, right? The first thing is always the hard part is you finding that job or internship, right? That's the hard part that is always complicated. You will have to complete an application form. It's like a PDF document for this one for you guys for academic training. That will require approval for your career advisors here in your department, right? Who are confirming, yes, it's related to our major, to our degree. Yes, it's a part of our degree requirement, or no, it's for a part of a course. You'll submit all these to bio with all the supplemental, including the employment verification letter. There's a special format we have it in. We're picky. Processing fee, and there's a processing fee and proof of funds for post-completion, and I'll talk more about that in a second. And then we will take 5 business days, and we're going to give you a new DS 2019 and an academic training letter, and then you can begin working once you've been authorized for that and you reach that start date of the AT. About this point, I'm going to note about this a little bit. So remember, there's an end date on your DS 2019, right? So let's say you're applying for post-completion, and I'm going to talk more about this. You must apply for post-completion academic training before the program end date on your DS 2019. We cannot do it after, okay? So if you come to us one day after your program end date on your DS 2019, I found this great job in your internships, I want to do it. Sorry, can't do it. The reason is when we were doing this for post-completion, when we extend you guys for F1s, their program end date doesn't change. For you guys, J1s, when we give you post-completion academic training, we are also extending the program end date on your DS 2019 to match the academic training. Okay, so that's why we have to do this before your program end date on your DS 2019, because we will need to extend it. And for you J1s, Department of State is strict, and we can't extend you after your program end dates. Okay, so very important to apply early. And because we're extending you, well, there's a processing fee, which what that is for, it goes to bio actually. That is so because you're no longer going to be students, you can keep coming to us with like advising everything like while even though you're no longer a student, to keep coming to us. And then a proof of funds, because when again, the government requires us to see a proof of funding anytime we do an extension of an end date on a DS 2019 or an I-20 for that matter. So again, we would need to see proof of funds that you can live and stay and work in the United States in order to extend that end date. Special considerations post-completion. I think I jumped ahead, but again, you must submit a complete request well before the end date on your DS 2019. Please don't come to us the last day. I mean, we will work with you on the last day, but please don't. And we must extend you before the program end date on your DS 2019, or it's not possible. Please do this as early as possible. Please, please, please. Your post-completion academic training period actually begins the day after your academic program, right? So if your DS 2019 has a May 15th, 2026 end date, your academic training is actually going to start on the following day, even if the job doesn't start right away. The employment, though, has to start within 30 days of the program end date currently on your DS 2019. So your start date for your job on post-completion academic training must be within 30 days of the end date of your DS 2019. It is okay to have changed jobs or have more than one job during post-completion academic training as well, but each job, just like while you're a student here in academic training, needs the authorization through academic training. And one note on this too, I think that, we do have it here, sorry. There can be no gaps in employment during your post-completion academic training. It kind of sucks. It's like there is no gaps, and I mean literally no gaps. So if you are ending one job on academic training post-completion, and your new job, they're like, oh, we want you to start in 2 weeks after that. No, it must start literally the next day. So you end on a Friday, the start date of the next job's employment must be that Saturday. There's no gaps in employment. They can overlap, that's okay, but there can be no gaps in employment on post-completion academic training. So keep that in mind. And you, just like OPT and stuff, everything you do while in academic training post-completion has to be reported to us, including your address changes, all that stuff has to be done through our SSU Hub, our system. And we do have a website that goes in detail on all of this. And remember, I'll get to you just 1 second, please. So again, you guys have a 30-day grace period after the end date on your DS 2019. Again, apply for post-completion academic training before that date. But let's say you apply for post-completion academic training, then we extend the end date on your DS 2019. You will then have a new 30-day grace period from the new end date on your DS 2019 as well. Questions now.
So the whole period of academic training is managed by university. There is no role of any government department like USCIS.
Yeah, that's the good thing is you're not sending this off to the government. The difference, the only time that we will is on that like super long 2-month extension for STEM that you guys get, right? Then it has to be approved by USCIS. But the academic training is actually done by Bio for you guys. So it's a lot more straightforward process. You don't have to send it off. Like there's a lot of cons to the J1 side, right? But there's definitely some benefits to it. You don't have to deal with USCIS and these guys there.
Okay, I'd like to know how much is the required for the proof of funds, and
yeah.
So and clarify also that for the J1, there's no unemployment grace period. There's none. And also, what if in the middle of your contract, maybe your contract is terminated? What do you do in that
Yeah,
case?
unfortunately, yeah, those are good questions. I would have to look. I don't know the top of my head the proof of funds. I'd have to go to our academic training website. The amount of funds is on that website that you will need to show. So check that out. I could screw around with the website and look at it too, but it is on our website and it depends on how long you're extending. It's based on the month. So if I'm extending 1 month or 2 months or whatever how long that looks. So the amount is based on how long you're extending. Okay. And those amounts are listed on our academic training website there. And it will include too, depends on if you have a J2 dependence and things like that too. So you have to show extra money because I have more J2s here, right? About the employment stuff, yeah, you're correct. There is no, unfortunately, because there can be no gaps in your employment, there's no unemployment days that you accrue and stuff like that. So, and that means too, that if you suddenly get laid off from your employer or something like that, that puts you in a bad situation. Because there cannot be no gaps. And if there's a gap between the next employer, you need to find a new job. So I would say in those situations, definitely have clear communication with your employer, see if, push back your start date or the end date of the employment for a little bit longer to give yourself more time to find and secure another AT to then have it authorized before that. Yeah, I know it sucks. There is no gap. There can be no gaps and there's no unemployment there for you guys as a J1s.
Could you address the rule on AT about the percentage of hours you can work in person?
Yes,
versus
that is a
remote?
great question. Thank you. And I should have included this in our slides. Great. Thank you for bringing that up. So for you for those who are on academic training, right, J1s, whether you are a student now or post-completion, pre or post-completion, your academic training, the Department of State is pretty strict on it. It's supposed to be for in-person jobs. So they will allow you to do like a hybrid schedule. The government requires max 40 hours online. Or excuse me, 40 hours online. So for example, 2 days a week you work from home and 3 days in person, that is okay. But it has to be at least 60% in person while you are on academic training. So no fully remote jobs is the answer. So good. Thank you for bringing that up.
So during my degree program, I can work 50% of the time. For example, I go on an internship during my semester that allows me to work for 2 months. Will it count 2 months in my total academic training tenure, or it shall count 50% on 1 month?
No, a good question. That's a good question. I believe that it still counts fully. I would need to confirm that for you. Sorry. There's a lot of immigration regulations going on up in his head, and sometimes I get confused. But I would say that I believe that it also counts for you like normal, because it just subtracts from that amount. I would love to clarify that for you. So maybe shoot us an email with that question specifically. That way it'll come to me or another bio advisor who can look, and we have like an internal guide for some of these things that like we can look back like, wait, what is that? But that's a great question. I believe that it counts fully, but I would like to confirm that for you. So please send us an email so we can get back to you on that. Yeah. First here, then there, maybe. Yeah. Sorry, that had first. Sorry.
This academic training post completion
Yeah.
is available for people who have like a specific scholarship. Like I'm on a scholarship and the scholarship says that I need to go back to my home country within 30 days, but is academic training like still an available option then?
So you have the post-completion academic training is a benefit of your J1 status. So you are able to do that. Does your program sponsor, right? May I ask where you're from? And
World Bank.
Lloyd Bank.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Lloyd Bank's requirements are. This may be from your sponsor itself, right? But from an U.S. immigration perspective, right? You are still eligible to apply for this post-completion academic training. Okay. Now, is there a timeline we need to return home for? Yes, of course. Your J1s have the 2-year home residency and the 1 day, as well as the 212E, as well as the 1 year. Depends on your situation, right? But if there's reciprocity agreements, but I would say come to us on your specific situation. We can look at your funding and what that agreements look like for you, right? But you would still be eligible to apply for the post-completion.
The other question that I had was that
The paid and the unpaid
Yeah.
it can be all on a scholarship. So I don't know how that's
You mean for post-completion academic training?
No, during the time also, if I get a paid internship or if I get a paid capstone or a work, let's say I want to work as a GSI or some research scholar, then like, can I take paid employment or not?
From a U.S. immigration perspective, you are eligible to receive paid employment for academic training or on-campus employment with the proper work authorizations. Is this in conflict with the stipulations of your scholarship? I don't know.
So that is something you should verify with World Bank, your scholarship coordinator or whoever is your point person.
Okay.
What the terms are for what exactly you can or can't do. Because from this perspective, yes, you can, but whether the World Bank scholarship will allow you to do this and what their specific guidelines are.
Got it.
Correct. Yeah.
So you should just clarify that with them about everything, about paid, unpaid, working, returning, everything.
This sounds like, and thank you also. I think that this is probably like, you don't want to jeopardize your scholarship, right? So doing something. So again, this is from a U.S. immigration policies perspective, academic training, on-campus J1 and work authorizations. Could you do it paid? Yeah. Would that impact your scholarship? Well, that I don't know, right? But I would also say, come and speak to us about it and say, hey, and like, this is my scholarship letter. Do you guys agree? And we may say, I don't know, contact your scholarship provider, which may be the answer. But I would say we're happy to look at that together with you and guide you through that. We may not know the answer to it. We may say, I don't know, go talk to Lloyd's Bank. But I would like to, we were happy to look at that with you.
Can help us like sit together, read the terms and conditions and like try to understand it.
Typically this is something on your own, right?
Yeah.
But I think if it comes into, does this impact my immigration status? And you would like to confirm, certainly come and speak to us. Again, we're not typically able to wade through your own scholarships and what are the terms and conditions. But if you say, hey, I contacted Lloyd's Bank, they said this, they said I can't do unpaid internships because of my scholarship, and this is what it says. Do you guys agree or not?
Okay.
Something like that. I would hesitate to say, yeah, bring in your thing and we can wade through it together, especially when we're seeing like 50 students in a 2-hour thing. It kind of, yeah, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Is it possible to, send our family member invitation letter for like, but not as a J2. It's just
like
visit us during the graduation next year. It's just for 1 month, for example.
Yeah, I would encourage you on our bio website, which by the way, our bio website's awesome. I actually worked at multiple universities and used to stealing and plagiarism's bad, but our website's so robust and good that I used to go to this website and look at those information for other and duplicate it at other universities I've worked at. Please use our bio website. It is super robust. On our bio website, just search inviting family. We have an inviting family website, which has the process of adding somebody as a J2 dependent for you, but also there is like, we don't provide the invitation letters, but we have a template there that you can use to write because the invitation has to come from you, the individual. We have a template there for you and instructions there as well.
Okay, so invitation letter is not coming from campus, right?
Correct. That comes for you as the individual because you, the individual, are inviting them, but we have a template and instructions there on that inviting family website that I would encourage you to check out.
But can campus help us to clarify that we are a student here?
You can get like an enrollment verification letter and things like that, certainly.
Yeah.
And from the, I would say from the registrar's office, so it's super official looking. But yeah, that would be something that we could provide for you. But the invitation letter itself, because we, the university, are not inviting them, you are inviting them, right? So that's why it has to come from you, the individual. Yeah.
Yeah, this is not directly related to immigration, but about the SSN number.
Sure.
So when I was going through the bio website, it says that like we need to have a work authorization or a work employment offer to apply for SSN. So can we apply for SSN without the work authorization? Because like many credit cards are asking for SSN.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, good question. First off, there's two things. There's two different types of tax ID numbers. One is an ITIN. You've probably heard of those before. You guys J1s aren't eligible for those. You're only eligible for SSNs. And the Social Security Administration requires you, like a Social Security number is a tax ID number for paid employment. So you got to have a paid job offer to apply for an SSN, unfortunately.
Oh, so it's their requirement. Okay.
Yes. This is the Social Security Administration will not issue you a Social Security number unless you are coming there with a offer letter for our employment.
Because we don't have the ITN also, and we don't have the.
Yeah, I know it becomes a stumbling block. So I would say find some on-campus work, get the J1 on-campus employment author, like, bio has jobs. I was hiring earlier. Like I filed that one, but library, someplace like that. And not to say I don't want you to, don't flake on the employer, work for them for a while, but like get in a paid job offer. Go work for them a while.
But again,
apply for an
sponsor,
SSN.
sponsor. I'm also in World Bank, so the sponsor.
World Bank, Lloyds Bank.
So I have a question.
I just like 1 second out, just to close the loop on this. Yes, unfortunately, there needs to be a paid job offer for it.
Okay.
The academic training rights is what's required for you for work authorization off campus, right? And you can apply with that AT work authorization too. Come and speak to us though about your specific situation. I'm also curious to dig in deeper about the scholarship and the restrictions that your scholarship providers are because I'm not super familiar with those, just full confession. So yes, your question, I'm sorry.
Basically a clarification of this previous question. If I get unpaid internship, does I still become eligible for SSN or not?
Typically no, but the academic, let's pull up this. Since we're here, The
website says paid.
Yeah, I mean, it does. But this is again, the Social Security Administration's requirements.
Basically, we can't get credit card or any other amenities if we don't have SSN. So how to proceed with this issue then?
Unfortunately, there's restrictions then. If you're not able to get paid employment, you need paid employment to get a Social Security number from the Social Security Administration.
But if we get paid employment, we may jeopardize our scholarship.
Exactly. So maybe then you can't get a credit card.
Jeremiah, I think there's a class coming in.
Oh yeah,
so we
sorry.
have to wrap
I
up.
was about to show you the Social Security. Check out our SSN page. Come and speak to us, particularly about I would say particularly about this idea with the scholarships and stuff too. Let's talk about that, right? And so, look through solutions. Those solutions might be, sorry, no SSN, no credit cards at this time until you find that paid employment. There's really interesting restrictions that I am going to go back to my office and ask some of my advising leads and figure out more about those, but also please come and see us so we can talk to you through those. Thank you, everybody. I know that I spoke a lot, that I spent a lot of time for those Fs, but thank you for your patience.